Hey everyone, we're here with Cancer Smiles and Sarcasm. I've got Jim and Randy with me. Jim is my brother and Randy is a friend of mine. And the topic is going to be prostate cancer. So, first, guys, I want to thank you so much. I'm writing a book or I don't know, something, but something with just like quotes and everything that I think is important in life. And one of the things that I think is like a skill and also a gift to others is being vulnerable and having vulnerability. And as you guys know, I'm pretty open, pretty much an open book. But vulnerability requires honesty and it requires bravery because it's hard to hard to tell the story and definitely I think in your guys' book with this kind of cancer, it's not, the most best thing to do and it might be a little embarrassing or something like that. So I really appreciate you guys for being here because so many people need to know about this cancer. I was looking at American Cancer Society and prostate cancer is the second leading cause of cancer for men, which I thought was pretty interesting. And the first was lung cancer. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed throughout their lives. 1 in 44 of them will die from it. I mean, it could, some of the factors are age, race, ethnicity, inherited genes, and 65 or older and higher in Black men. But both of you are very white and not Black and not 65 or older.
Getting closer, my friend. Getting closer.
I'm not too far behind them.
Okay, so Jimmy, just for listeners, how old are you?
57.
And Randy?
I'll be 60 next month.
Okay, and when were you diagnosed? And so, how about this for ease of listening? We'll obey the rule of respect your elders, and so we'll let Randy go first whenever I answer a blank question. Randy can go first, and then Jimmy.
Okay.
I was diagnosed with prostate cancer April the 18th of 2025, the day after my birthday.
And I was diagnosed, I want to say, October of 24.
Okay. All right. So, it's the estimates in 2026 are that 333,000 men will be impacted by this and 36,000 people will die. So, I think that's just crazy stats to me. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
So what signs did you guys have that you had this cancer? Like what made you go in and say, "Hey, I got prostate cancer," or what'd you do?
I just went in starting in about December of 24, I just wasn't feeling good, and I just wasn't myself, and I'd run out of energy real fast. But I knew I had my annual physical coming up in March. So I thought, I'll just tough it out and just see what the doc says. So I really didn't know exactly what was going on. I just knew something wasn't right. So when I went to have my annual physical, I told her about it, and she ordered my blood work and everything, and my PSA, which is prostate specific antigen test, came back actually normal. It was a little bit elevated, but nothing to worry about. But with all the just not feeling good and being run down all the time, she said, "I want you to go see an oncologist." So that's when I went to oncology and went through the exam, and he's like, something just doesn't feel right. Your prostate feels super tight and super enlarged to me. So that's when he went and sent me to have the scan and everything, and that's the scan came back with something in it. So that's when I went and they took samples, and that's when I found out.
And how about you, Jim?
Well, I went in for my annual physical, and my PSA level was 4.3 at that time. That was in January when I go in, and then I had to go back in for medication change. So they did blood work on me to make sure my meds were all right, and I could take whatever I was going to get. And doing that, they found out that my PSA level went from 4.3 to 8.7.
Oh, wow.
So that's quite the hike. And I mean, prior to that, my sex drive was down. I was urinating, I was having to get up all the time. You know what I mean? I was constantly going to the bathroom, and it just didn't feel right anyway. Kind of like what Randy's saying, but being more specific, there was no, there was no sex drive. There was constant going to the bathroom, even and never really emptying your bladder.
Yeah,
Okay.
So
that's true.
yeah, so then when I finally went in to the oncologist or the urologist, he tells me that they took 12 samples, and it's not a pleasurable thing to get done, but they took 12 samples out of your prostate.
I'll
And
second that, brother. I'll second that one. That ain't fun.
it definitely ain't fun. And anyway, when they did my 12 samples, 11 of them came back with cancer. So
Wow.
let's see, that was in October. I said I he asked me what I wanted to do at that time, if I wanted to go through treatment, radiation, and chemo. And then I thought about you. I thought about Dad. I thought about a lot of things. And I go, let me think about it for a second. But as I was walking out of the parking lot, I got to the truck, talked with Mom for a brief second. And I said, you know what? I'll be right back. And I walked right back through the door, asked to speak to the doctor, awesome guy, and told him that I just want to have it remote. So
Okay.
that's basically.
And when was that, like, so you had the hike between 4 and 8. How long was the different, like, how long was that between the 4 and the 8 month or what?
No, like I went in and I went in January to get my annual, and I went back in. I want to say I want to say it was September, but I didn't get her blood work back until, or the results from my blood work back until October.
Okay.
So it was
So
always
about,
about
so
6
within 10
months.
months.
6
Okay.
months. 6 months.
6 months.
And then by the time I got to see the urologist pretty quick, and hey, he did the right thing. It's, it wasn't fun, but I mean, I had my headphones on, so I was listening to music, and we were joking around, quite a bit. So it was all right.
Wow, that's crazy. So it's like, well, Randy had the signs, but then they told him, "Oh, maybe you don't have it, but let's go get it double checked." And then you didn't have as many signs, but found out, through the screening. And just for those people who are listening, is this the basic screening where you hear about, like, all the guys laugh about it or whatever? It's like the grab your balls and cough and
No, no.
thing like that.
Usually it's supposed to be Randy, but usually it's supposed to be, finger in your butt. They check your prostate, but I got a female doctor. She doesn't do that. She goes by the PSA levels, and normal for our age, Randy and myself, is around 4. It's around 4.
Yeah.
But let's see, I was only 56 at the time. So I was above normal by a slight bit, but 6 months later, I was beyond all that. So when Randy had his removed through talking with him, he had his removed around 4. And when his PSI low was 4-ish, mine was removed at almost 9.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like Jim was saying, I had the same 12 samples taken, and 7 of mine came back with you know positive for cancer, and Jim had 11. So they
Okay.
they
And
caught
then
mine
now,
quite a bit earlier.
So is that like so then does that like translate to a stage or something? Like I
Yeah.
have stage 3 or stage 4 breast cancer. So do you guys then have stages of cancer?
Yeah, I was, from what my research tells me, I was at my almost 9, I was at a +3.
Okay.
I didn't do that kind of research, Tammy. I just
Okay.
no, I just knew
Okay.
I just knew I had it and
It's time to get it
I
out.
wanted that crap out of my body. You know what I mean?
Yep. That's
Yeah.
that's exactly the same attitude I had. But again, I got my sister, you know, I learned a lot from you, and all that played into my head, and it played into my head as fast as yours. It, yours was, your cancer was rapid, and it
Yeah.
seemed like mine was too, because I should have been, there's no way I should have jumped 4 points in 6 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm paying for it now, that's for sure.
And then I'm kind of on the same lines as Jim is, though. Because Tammy, I watched you go through it. And how rapidly things happened, and then Sean with throat cancer. I was scared. I was scared to death. And I was like, just get this.
Yeah.
I just want this gone out.
And so Jimmy, like it sounds like you made an immediate decision. Like you got chemo and radiation versus surgery, and you were just like, "Fuck, let's go surgery." Thinking about me, and
Thinking
what? And
about
then what
you,
went?
thinking about dad. Dad went. This was the kicker that got me. Dad went in for, he couldn't get the chemo, but he did the radiation. And then all of a sudden, his cancer blew out throughout his body.
Yeah.
He had 29 lymph nodes on his liver. He wasn't a drinker, you know. There was no,
Yeah.
he had skin cancer first on his head when they took that credit card size of skin down to his skull off. And then he was feeling sick, so they ended up with lung cancer, which was a small little speck, according to what I was told. But then it just rapidly, he was too weak to do anything. And I think the radiation just totally obliterated that and just sent it throughout his body, because he was impaled with cancer tumors, or whatever you want to call them, lymph nodes or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what right then and there, that one came to me first. There was no way in the world I was doing treatment, not after seeing what dad went through. There was no way in the
Yeah.
world I was doing treatment after knowing exactly what you went through and how rapidly yours spread. There was just no, hell no. I want it
Yeah.
out, you know,
Yeah.
spit it out.
And Randy, did your doctor even talk to you about chemo and
He
radiation,
did.
or
He
what?
did. And well, my wife Kelly has been oncology nurse for the better part of 30 years. She's been through it all, and she's kind of like Jim, that chemo and radiation for prostate cancer, you get one shot. You can't have multiple doses of of that kind of treatment with prostate cancer. And so we made our decision pretty quick, actually, as to
Okay. So it was surgery
yeah.
for both of you.
No,
That was it.
yeah, without a doubt. And I don't know what kind of surgery Randy had. I had the, what is it called?
Robotic
No, yeah, the robotic, but it's called a,
prosectomy.
yeah, it's called a vasectomy, but the surgery is called Da Vinci. Da Vinci is what it's called. The Da Vinci surgery. It's robotic.
Mm,
I learned that too, doing, talking to doctors and stuff. You
okay.
taught me a lot, Tammy. I'm telling you what.
And so So you guys had the surgery. What did the surgery feel like? What was that like?
3 hours of solid sleep.
Yeah. So you were asleep. You got to get knocked out. But like, afterwards, I guess maybe what
It
was
was
that? Was it a full day treatment? Like, first of all, how long was the surgery, and then overnight or
mine was supposed to, they told Kelly and I, it's about a 3 to 4 hour surgery, and mine took over 6 hours.
wow?
But my prostate cancer, all of my cancer was on the left side of my prostate. So they were able to hook some of the lymph nodes and things, all the boy parts, all the male parts back together. So
That explains.
that's why it took them so long.
Oh, okay.
That explains a few things in our conversation, Randy. Because mine took me. It was 3 hours and 45 minutes around, but they
Okay.
removed everything. And in our conversation, or my conversation with Randy earlier, and I'm probably jumping the gun, we were talking about how incontinence happens afterwards, once you get the catheter out. I still have like major leakage problems. I don't wear a diaper, I wear pads, but I can sleep through the night without a problem. But while I'm up and walking around, moving around, I go through 3 or 4 easily. When I spoke with Randy earlier, he said he hasn't had no problems.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which,
I didn't. I mean, I had.
if he had all those parts replaced, then he might have caught, because there's 2 shutoff valves. One of them gets removed with the prostate, and the other one is an external out of the prostate. So maybe when you kept some of your parts, they kept one of those shutoffs.
Yeah, that I don't know, Jim. I know they took the whole prostate, but
No kidding.
I wa- I was really pretty fortunate of catching this as early as we did. So yeah, I think that I have had a hand up on a lot of guys that
Sure.
either embarrassed to go have it checked, or especially us as men, we think we're freaking invincible. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
it's like, but then everything changes. You know what I mean? So I would, I think you're going to get to this at some point of Tammy. So I'll kind of quit there
Yep.
and let you
Well, so
let you go on, and then we'll talk about Mark later.
yeah. So after the surgery, just going back to the surgery. So how long was the recovery period then for you guys, just for listeners, so they kind of know what that looks like?
My rec- I my I had the catheter in for 10 days, and as far as recovery, I think that I am, it'll be a year on May 28th, and I still think that I'm in somewhat kind of a recovery mode.
Okay.
There's just certain things that I don't have any incontinence or anything, and I never did lose my sex. I did a little bit at first. I didn't. Wasn't able to get an erection, but that's all has returned. But there's just certain things that I think the recovery process is still ongoing.
Yeah, and I think that's all with all cancer patients, right? You become this new normal for
Right.
everyone,
Yeah, I
right?
guess
It's
that
it's horrible. Like, the cancer never goes away really, even in your mind, because it's like you just have to have this new
right.
normal. And so how long before your Well, you were saying your erections. How long did that come back?
For me, it was the doctors were actually astounded. You know, it wasn't. I would say within 3 months.
Oh, wow. Okay. And how about Jim for you then? What did yours after surgery kind of look like?
Oh, compared to his, a nightmare.
Oh,
I had the catheter on for 10 days. That was not a problem. And I was in recovery elsewhere. So I wasn't
mhm.
getting any kind of I was not under any stress whatsoever, so I thought for sure that I would heal quicker than I did. I still go through, like I said, at least 3 pads a day, you know, and
Mhm.
that's just, I mean, at night I'm fine, but it's just moving around, riding my bike is a huge no-no. As soon as you sit down, you got to go to the bathroom. I don't care if I'm dehydrated, you know what I mean? I drink like a glass of water in the morning, and let's say at noon, I want to go out and ride my bike. As soon as I sit on the seat, got to go to the bathroom, or I go to the bathroom. It's like as soon as you sit down, your urethra just hits a button and you leak instantly. As far as erections go, nothing, nothing, absolutely
Okay.
nothing. So
And do they anticipate that would ever come back or no?
no, it's like Randy said that they anticipate it'll come back. You're supposed to do these Kegels, do that, which I did for 10 months straight because I wasn't doing anything else. And I still do them now, and it doesn't matter. I did, and
Oops.
go ahead. Kegels are
Oh, I was just like, what did you say you're supposed to do these keyholes or what did
Kegels,
you
yeah,
say?
Kegels
It's like
like
a
a woman,
it's kind of like a
yeah,
wing.
just like a woman does.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's to tighten up your base muscles, basic.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And
It
then
is.
I did. Go ahead.
I mean, Tammy is what it is. It's basically a Kegel exercise that of course, men do them, but when when you have your prostate removed, the only thing holding your urine in is your pelvic floor, pretty much. So, and
Okay.
your muscles
Same thing.
in your pelvic floor. So
Same thing with with
you
your butt too.
so you do Kegel exercise to try to strengthen your muscles in your pelvic floor to regain your continence and things like that.
Oh, okay. Well, Jim, you said like, oh yeah, same thing as women do. You guys, I am lazy as fuck. I don't do any exercise. I don't know what
Well,
a Kegel is,
Kegel,
but
well,
maybe Sean will appreciate it if I start doing
yeah,
some.
maybe, maybe not. But like Randy said, it just tightens up your muscles. It tightens up your base
Okay.
muscles, and it also, I mean, it's also like okay, basically, it's like trying to hold a fart. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's the same principle as holding a fart. And then when I got because well, whatever. After my surgery, my doctor sent me some stuff in the mail or emailed me. And there's a seat that you can get or you can sit on. I don't know. I didn't get all the details because I really want to do it. But if you sit down on this seat, this it's just a chair. You sit on for a half hour. It sends electric shocks through your ass, basically, through your bottom, and contracts and it causes you to do like 12,500 Kegels in 30 minutes.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Sounds
that does
painful.
sound painful.
Well, it'd just be like a little shock, just repetitious shock. It'd be, here's what I think about it would be like, like when your hand falls asleep or your foot falls asleep or your ass falls asleep and it feels like all those little pins pricking.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it would feel like.
Okay.
What you're doing,
Hmm.
but your muscles are contracting 12,000 times. It's tightening up. It's kind of like the same thing Bruce Lee did when he was training. electric shocks and tightened up his muscles, made his reflexes faster. So
Really?
yeah, you're
Hmm.
too young.
I mean, maybe I
You're
should start doing
too
that because
you're too young to know about that. But that was back
well,
in
what I
the
was gonna say is like the older we get, I feel like we just
y-
fart more, and
yeah,
I'm like,
oh yeah, for
maybe I
sure.
should be doing
I
Kegels.
don't know. I think they're funny, so I laugh. So it doesn't bother me a bit. As long as nothing else comes out. As long as you don't shart, you're fine.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I'm afraid I'm gonna shart. I
Yeah.
never know what's gonna happen,
Well,
and you're
see,
like,
now when
yeah,
I
I don't know.
do it,
You're just at the grocery store. It's like when I was in my 30s, I didn't go to the grocery store and have to fart as much as I do now. It's like, what
right.
the fuck?
See, now, like with me, that causes sneezing, coughing, farting, all cause incontinence every single time.
Okay.
Every time.
So it's so what's now? I mean, are you guys so you have to do this ongoing treatment? Do you have to get monitoring? Like what's going on
I
now?
I go out. I have my PSA drawn every 6 months for the first 2 years, and I've had, let's see, two. Well, yeah, I also have one through like 3 or 4 months after your surgery, but I've had three so far. So you do it twice a year. For me, I do it twice a year for the first 2 years, and then once a year after that if your PSA stays at 0.
Okay. And what do they anticipate the chances that you would get prostate cancer again?
You can't get prostate cancer. Prostate
No, I can't
gone,
get it. Yeah, it's
but
gone.
Oh, dum dum dum
but it
dum.
No,
could
but
it could spread. Like men with prostate cancer, you're a much greater risk of like colon cancer.
base muscles.
Okay.
Yeah, and cancer is a transfer through the lymph nodes to other parts of your body.
Okay.
So, along with the PSA tests, I have my I have a full blood panel also every 6 months for the first 2 years, and then every year after that.
And what about you, Jim? You said your face muscles? You can
No,
get cancer in your face muscles?
your base muscles. Your
Oh,
base muscles that like the rectal cancers is highly it's there.
Yeah.
When I went in for my surgery, I was sitting there, it was mom and I, we were sitting there and we are talking to a couple that were there. The gentleman that was sitting next to me had his prostate removed 5 years prior, and the cancer came back in his base muscles. So he had to go have
okay.
that removed. So getting to the blood work, I had to have, because maybe mine was so high, I had to have mine done every 3 months for the first year. And then I've already had it done once now since I've been out, and I'll go back. But when I had mine, now my doc didn't tell me what it was, but I was -2 when -02 when I came back home.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, that's good.
that's a good thing, and but still, like you said, lymph nodes, I don't know if the TSA does all that, but my doctor is really good. I've had her for years. She's always, checking my liver, checking everything else to make sure that I'm straight. So if she gets an inkling that I got something wrong, she hits me up and says, "Hey, hands over the buzzer. You need to go here and go there." And I'm on it like immediately because
Okay.
she's that good.
And so, maybe you guys don't know the answer to this, but like, so for me, I don't have any breast, right? So
Right.
I, it, but, but I did get breast cancer again. So when it did come back, for me, it's still breast cancer. It's just in different parts of my body. So for you guys, it sounds like you can't get prostate cancer again. It would just be you just more likely to get a different kind of cancer, like
Correct.
you would get lung
Yeah.
cancer.
Or
It wouldn't
or
be prostate cancer, correct?
or you could have, testicle cancer. You could have anything that's down there. and get cancer.
Okay.
I mean, I still have my testicles. I didn't have nothing removed, but there's still rectal cancer, testicle cancer. There's still,
colon cancer.
colon cancer. Yeah, rectal. All
Okay.
those cancers come back. So, like, I don't know if Randy said it earlier, but there's a 5 year like watch period. Or if you're
Okay.
pretty clean for 5 years and nothing's elevated, then you got longer to live for, I guess. I mean, 5 years is to watch that threshold. I haven't done all that kind of research, but I've done a lot. But
Yeah, that
I don't know.
5 years is the goal for.
Okay. And so when I was looking at like doing my research on prostate cancer, it suggested that, some things that could, help or possibly lead besides your genetics and your age and, whether your ethnicity. It talked about diet, weight. Some studies suggest that men with more calcium or dairy products in their system have gotten prostate cancer. Did anyone tell you guys like what they thought might be the cause of it or why you might have it? Do you have any genes or what does that look like?
I don't have any genetic prostate cancer in my family. My mother had breast cancer like you, Tammy. She only had to have
Okay.
what do they call it? One of her boobs
Mastectomy?
removed.
Yeah.
But my grandfather, he died of colon cancer. So I guess
Okay.
I
Family
get
history.
the cancer genetic is in there somewhere. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I also read through my research that I was doing that men who consume a lot of alcohol are more prone to prostate cancer.
Bingo.
And you know me, Tammy. I've had my fair share of drinking days.
Yep.
Which
So I mean, I think I can safely say that I tell my listeners anyways that I enjoy my drinking. So you guys both have some pretty heavy drinking moments in your life. Yeah. So now that said, what do your doctors tell you as far as prevention? Can you still drink? Like what do they tell you about stuff like that?
I don't. They didn't really tell me anything about drinking. They didn't even bring it up. It's just research that I had done, after the
Okay.
fact. But you know, I haven't drank alcohol hard. It's weird because I haven't really drank any hard alcohol in almost 3 years, and I
Nice.
was diagnosed with prostate cancer last year. But I just quit. I just I don't drink. You know, I,
Okay, and so it's not like you're not drinking because you don't wanna get another cancer, it's just you just made a
yes,
life choice.
I made a life choice.
And how about you, Jim? Do they tell you anything you're not supposed to do? Like
No, they didn't tell me anything I wasn't supposed to do, but drinking was the key factor in my doctor paying very close attention to me for as
yeah.
many years as I've been with her. But when Dad passed, I told him that I would clean up my act, and I've been sober. So, and
Mhm, great to hear.
it was after and this is like a myth that every man hears, or every person I think hears. Once you stop drinking, that's when all your problems start. Well, every alcoholic hears that. Let me rephrase
Mhm.
that. Once you stop drinking, that's when you're going to get cancer. That's when you're going to get this and you're going to get that. I mean, I can honestly say that my drinking almost cost me my life a couple times, but because of the withdrawals, and that's not a joke either. But No, they never said anything about it, and I've been eating pretty healthy. I am still overweight for my for my taste. I could lose about 30 pounds, and I'd be happy.
Okay.
I might
Wait,
even
so
end up
let me
on
clarify.
GQ.
So
can I say something? My
yeah, go ahead.
my doctor did say for men, one of the most common factors for men to get prostate cancer is stress.
Okay.
Hmm.
And do you think you live a stressful life?
I think I used to,
Okay.
especially when I was drinking. I mean, I think that kind of goes hand in hand with. I don't think you can do that and not have stress in your life. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. And what do you think, Jim? Did you have a stressful life? Do you think that could have caused it
I think
or
that
helped?
I don't know. I think I had a stressful life, which caused me to drink, and drinking didn't make it any less stressful. So, yeah, I would say. But like I said, I was clean when I was diagnosed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And how long had you been clean then?
Uh, since then,
Okay. So, but I mean, you were clean when you were diagnosed, you
yeah.
said, but like how long have you
Oh,
been
let's see.
clean?
It's been. I got mine removed in December. I got mine removed December 10th in 25. But I was clean.
Okay.
I was clean since Dad died. So that was 24 September 22nd of 24.
So maybe what you're hearing, like from people that say, "Hey, after you quit drinking, that's when shit hits the fan." You think that's accurate?
No, I think it's just a myth and it plays in your head, which adds a little bit more,
Ah,
and to me, that's just me. I try not to believe in all that other bullshit. Just trying to, you know, I learned, I, I found out that I gained more patience when I stopped. I'm easier to get along with and I'm a bit more easygoing. So
yeah.
I think that, yeah, I mean, drinking does causes a lot of chaos with family, with yourself, with everybody. It's just, it does cause more stress. And shitty thing is, you drink because of the stress. So it doesn't help
Yeah.
either way.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. Yeah.
So I'm kind of
So,
like I'm kind of with I'm with Jim here. I I think that I think that's kind of a myth. As when you get clean, things go downhill. I think at first it does, because you're battling, trying to for a lot of things. You're trying to battle, trying to make all the wrongs that you did. You're trying to make them right, which is stressful. But
mhm.
that's just temporary. I think
Right.
I think as far as cleaning up and then getting cancer, I think that's a myth.
Yeah. I think that was
Yeah.
just caused by dry drunks.
Mm.
The people that wish that they were still drinking, upset that they're not drinking, and then saying if you get clean, then your life's gonna go to heck, and it's just not true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You figure it out that it gets a little bit more easy going once you get past all the boredom of not drinking. I mean, basically that's about it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think that's what it is, boredom,
Yeah.
not drinking. So okay, so now, like, you guys both had cancer, it sounds like you made your decision pretty quick. Everything was just like boom, ba-doom, boom, 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 pretty quick. What would you tell, like, listeners now? Like, is there something like what questions to ask, what things you would do, or is there anything else that you wanted to, like, just kinda add to what's important to know? What do you think,
I
Randy?
think the most important thing for men to know about prostate cancer is to get checked. I think that there's a lot of male ego when it comes to doing, getting the exam and things like that. But I think, like you with breast cancer, Tammy, yeah, the best way to is to get checked.
Yeah.
Swallow your pride and go, go get checked.
And what is it? Like, I mean, I can't get Sean, my husband, I can't get him to go in for shit. It's like when he thought he had lung cancer, it's like, okay, yeah, sure, 6 months later. But it's like, what the fuck? Like, you had cancer. Why can't you go and just like go get checked for colon cancer? And he's always like, well, I don't have time. I don't want, what is it in you guys that it's like, that makes you, besides I mean, is it just ego or what is it? Like, it's just,
I think it's part ego. I think it's part pride. Pride of being a male. Yeah, and us guys that are of an older generation, it's. I think you might feel kind of being like you're being violated, maybe. From
okay.
the upbringing of our parents, which were baby boomer. It was just things were different. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep. I love the baby boomer. I love the people that been raised by baby boomers. I'm just saying. I'm always going to throw that out there, but I love them. They just have better work ethic. They're just better, generally better people. They just don't have that entitled bullshit attitude. But that's on a separate note. So Jim, what do you think? First of all, I want to know what is it that you think makes guys just not want to do this? Would you agree with Randy?
Yeah, to a certain aspect, but I've talked to quite a few guys that, I got an enlarged. I talked to them while I was going through my thing, and they asked me all the time, what'd you feel like, how did you know, blah, blah, blah. And I told them, I said, dude, if you have just the simple symptoms, you're not getting an erection, you're going to the bathroom all the time, and it feels like, you're not empty and you got to turn around and go back and trickle a little bit more later. Or if it's hurting when you go to the bathroom, dude, you got a serious problem. Your prostate could be enlarged, but it's enlarged for a reason. And
Yeah.
the thing is that, I'm 57. I was raised with the finger in your butt to check the prostate, but since the 2000s, they quit doing that. Now it's all blood work. That's where they got the PSA levels and everything else. So it's not hard to go in and say, listen, I just want you're going in for your annual anyway.
Okay.
So you're going in for your annual. You're going to get blood work. Ask your doctor what your PSA level is, and say, hey, listen, I know it doesn't seem like it's that high, but I'm having this issue. I'm not having erections. I'm going to the bathroom a lot. Or I feel like I got to go to the bathroom a lot and I'm not, could this be part of a problem that I should be concerned about? And then go to a urologist. That's okay. That's a bit more than getting a finger in your ass. But
Yeah.
it, that's definitely, that is totally different than that. That would be like a foreign object with a needle on the end of it stuck in your butt. And then every once in a while he moves it around and all you hear is a click and it's a needle shooting in your prostate and it pulls out a core and then you get to see all these little wormy looking things in the jar. But I mean, it's nothing to mess with.
That's what it was?
It's not.
Yeah, what they do,
It's not pretty,
it's,
Tammy.
Oh, gosh.
listen, it's okay. I'll just be blunt and say this. It's like a dildo that goes in your ass, but it's got a little needle that he's holding on to a trigger. So every time he moves it around and gets it in the right position, because they got to get 12 different sectors of your prostate. He hits that button, it shoots a little needle. It doesn't hurt, it's just awkward. And you hear it. And it just pulls a little sample, puts it in a jar. He keeps doing it. And then when he's done, he's got this little jar of these little, like, they're not even as, they're just like, they're not even as thick as a toothpick. You know what I mean? Little
Yeah.
pores that he took out of your prostate. That's all it is. But I'm telling you what, it's, if you think getting violated and then you end up dropping dead later because you didn't want to do anything, that just falls on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just,
Yeah.
you can set pride aside. You can do all that stuff that, if you want to live for your family, live for yourself, have a good life, get it checked out, man. Just check your PSA levels. That's it. Once you got to do that, I mean, my low point was Randy's high. If you get to my point,
Yeah.
if you get to a 9, you definitely need surgery.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like too, it sounds like that, unfortunately for you, Jim, you waited. You didn't, I mean, you weren't waiting. It was just like, it was just yours was aggressive. And now you have not the same lifestyle that Randy had. But the
No.
interesting thing is, too, that like Randy had like different signs, but he had the PSA 4, and his doctors were like, oh, well, but then you just kept on pushing a little bit. So those guys that, Jim, those guys that you're talking to, like, what's making them just sit there and ask you questions rather than going in? What is it, a fear?
I don't, because I don't know. The one
Yeah.
guy that I talked to said he's definitely has problems going to the bathroom. He said it hurts. He's got to push hard. Blah blah blah. I gave him my doctor's number. I said, dude, make a phone call. You're right around the corner from him. Make a phone call. Go get it checked out. So maybe,
Yeah.
and on top of that, Tammy, this guy is healthy as hell. You know, for being 60 years old, he's buff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's healthy. Don't drink.
And I think
Don't smoke.
that's like a huge misconception to people that, oh man, you're healthy and that means you're not going to get cancer,
Right.
or
That's bullshit.
you're yeah, you got a great diet and you're not going to get cancer, or you're, like you're this positive person and you're not going to get cancer. It is bullshit. It hits everyone like, like I think regardless. But what the one thing I do hear that seems to be a constant that I think they can't really pinpoint, but is that stress, it sounds like, is a factor,
Oh, for
and stress
sure.
plays a role in everyone's life.
And it causes a lot more problems than just cancer. I mean, mental health and everything else. Stress is
Yeah.
a huge factor in a lot of things. And if I may jump one little thing, I got a male friend who has breast cancer because his
Okay.
estrogen levels are so high. He is borderline, he's got it's only in his lymph nodes, but he's got it, and he's buff too, and he takes care of himself. So it's not, you can't, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, fat, heavy, or fat or skinny or anything. It doesn't matter, man. Cancer's in all of
Yeah.
us, like it's a killer. It's in every one of us. It's just a matter of time and when you get it.
Yeah. But it almost,
Where it
yeah, like
shows up.
some people say that. Yeah, some people say it's not if you're gonna get cancer, it's when you're gonna get cancer. And I think
Right.
that's easier said for like all of us who have had cancer,
Have it.
I mean, it's just
Right.
fucking, like. And so, the other question I had asked that I didn't follow up with you, Jim. So, what was the other thing that you wish? Is there anything you would have changed or done differently, or you think that listeners need to know about anything that you haven't said yet?
No, not really, because I think I paid real because of my liver and always worrying about that because of all the cancer in our family. I paid real good attention everything that I've been told. And it's just, a
Yeah.
matter of just getting your, getting it all right in your head and making it, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, that's just it. I got to be here for you. I got to be here for mom. I got to be here for myself, you know?
Yeah.
So just
Yep.
bite the bullet and make sure you get checked out, man. It's not that hard. Yeah, okay, it's a little uncomfortable, but hey, listen, Ma was telling Randy, the nurse that took me in there was a male. He was a Marine. He's full beard, tattooed, and everything else. And he's sitting there going, "Okay, so how you feeling? Drop your pants, do this, lay down this way, lay down." I'm like, dude, this is totally not cool. But I put my headphones on, I was listening to music, and when the doc came in, they started their thing. We were just laughing and giggling the whole time, just they made me feel totally comfortable with what they were doing. And I got two guys sitting there shoving something in my butt. That's not like anything anybody really wants to go through, but at least they made it okay. It didn't make me feel awkward.
Yeah. And Randy, was your experience then too the same kind of with that? That's the biopsy part, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
the
'cause it's the same as
biopsy.
yeah. Yeah. Randy, how about you? Had anything with the biopsy, was that a similar experience or?
Yeah, yeah. My nurse was a female, and she explained everything really well and what was going to happen, and they gave me headphones to listen to, and they were very professional about it. Made me as comfortable as possible, and it wasn't horrible. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Can I add one thing to what Jim was saying though? He was talking about fear. The fear aspect of it, and I think we as men, as we get older, we encounter other men that have gone through like prostate cancer and some of the side of after effects that it brings, like incontinence and not being able to get an erection or have a sex life and stuff like that. And I think that is part of the fear of why men don't want to get checked. Does that make sense?
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. That is major fear with all men because, yeah, you're taking away your masculinity.
That's right.
Basically.
That's right.
But
But my doctor, he told me that some men stay incontinent for a long time. Some men stay incontinent forever. Some men don't get erections again. But he said medicine has come a long way. There's things that they can do to where you can get an erection. There's things they can do to help you get your incontinence, your continence
Under control. Yeah.
Medicine has come a long way. There's things that they can do to help those symptoms.
There's balloons, there's slings, there's pills, there's that chair. I mean, there's a ton of things. But see,
that chair scares the shit out of me. But
yeah. But I'll tell you what, listen. When I do sit on that chair, I'm gonna call you and let you know.
Okay. And did you order it yet?
No,
or how much does this chair cost?
I don't know. That's what I got to find out. You don't order it.
Okay.
You don't order it. You gotta go. You gotta go to the clinic and do it. It's inpatient. So I'm not sure exactly. I'm sure that if you were trying to buy that chair, it would be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. But here's the thing. This is one thing that I want to add to Randy. His comment is okay. In the spectrum, towards the worst part, I still got incontinence. I don't have an erection. My libido's still there, but it doesn't matter. With Randy, his incontinence, he doesn't have it. He's having sex. So when your doctor turns around and says, hey, when he told me that, I was thinking I was going to end up being like Randy,
Yeah.
but it didn't matter if I was like me because I don't have cancer in me anymore.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that mattered to me. Now, one question I have to both of you is, all right, because I had cancer, I had it removed. Do I still have cancer? Do you guys still have cancer? Well, I know you do, Tammy, but
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I know. But Randy, do you feel like you still have cancer?
I I don't know. Jim, I don't know how to. I think cancer is a part of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the medical question, well, for me, at least when my cancer, the first go around when I removed my breast, I asked my doctor, I said, do I have cancer? And she said, no, Tammy, you do not have cancer. Even though you're still going through all this stuff, they removed it. Like your cancer is gone. So there's a thing like your cancer is gone. There's a thing about your cancer is in remission. Like for me, I have active cancer, but then there's some people that have, like that are in remission where I like you guys, if your cancer wasn't removed, then you don't have, then you might, and you don't have any signs, then it would be like in remission. But from my understanding, you guys would have, like for Sean, he had his tumor removed and it's gone. So he no longer has cancer. He's not in remission. He doesn't have it anymore.
So well, in my head, I don't have cancer
Correct. That's what I would think too. Yeah.
because I don't want it weighing on me anyway. I don't have cancer till my doctor says, hey, you need to go see this person or that person. So to me, I'm not in remission because cancer was taken out to the best of my knowledge. And I don't want to live my life thinking that, I got cancer. I got the aftermath of it, but I don't have cancer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's what, what you're saying, Randy. And that's what I was saying earlier. Now you have the new normal, right? It's that
Yeah.
even if you don't have the cancer, it's like you're fucking like your new normal, right?
It is a new normal, and it's like we were talking that I don't have any incontinence, right? But when I do have to go to the bathroom, it's pretty urgent. I can hold it. I can hold it no matter what I'm doing. I can bend over, I can lift weights, I can do all the things without leaking. But when I gotta go,
When you gotta go,
you
it's
gotta
gotta
go.
go.
Yeah.
Like now.
So that's a life that's a life change. That's just part of the life now.
Yeah, there's no more like sitting there. I can hold down 6 beers and do whatever. No, when it's time to go, man, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can take my sleeping pills and wake up in the middle of the night and barely make it to the bathroom because I'm so druggy. But I gotta go to the bathroom, so at least I know I gotta go, and that's what happens.
Well, we are at an hour, and so I'm so appreciative for you guys talking. I know Jimmy's little sister, and Randy's my husband's friend, from childhood, and so may not have been the most comfortable thing, but we did it. And I think for the listeners, I think it's going to be so important. And I think, wrapping up too, I think there is a lot of fear out there, and I know, I feel like when you have cancer, when you see somebody going through cancer, you're always afraid of, fuck, that could be me, but it could be you. And what I've learned, I think, from this episode is that, Jimmy's was a little bit further along and he's having a little bit problems. I don't know if that's why, but it seems like maybe that could be why. But also like that, like you said, you guys need to get it checked, because if you can catch it early, man, then that's, half the battle. Like knowing it's half the battle, G.I. Joe, right? Like what we all learned when we were little kids,
That's
or at least
exactly right, Tammy.
the good baby boomers that are out there, or born, raised by baby boomers. Yeah. So anyways, thanks so much for chiming in. I really appreciate you guys. Love you guys.
Love you.
And for all the listeners out there, please follow Cancer Smiles and Sarcasm. All right. I'll talk to you later, guys. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.